Hello everyone, my name is David Webb, and today we're going to be talking about traditional publishing versus self-publishing and which one you should choose. Let's get started. It's the age-old question that has plagued authors since publishing houses have been around. And it's an issue that has grown even more controversial as the digital revolution has taken over the world. Should I self-publish my book, or should I send it to a traditional publisher? Today, we're going to be going over the benefits of both so that you can make the most educated decision possible for you and your work. First of all, why is this still an issue? Well, it's because for a long time, traditional publishers and agents were seen as the gatekeepers of the book industry. And it was widely accepted that your book would not be successful unless you had a traditional publisher and that you went through an agent. And this was, admittedly, for the most part, true. In years gone by, it was so much more difficult to self-publish your book that it just wasn't worth the effort in most cases. Even one of the most famous self-published books that's older than about 10 years, Aragon, only became successful when another successful novelist noticed the book and then republished it. And because the notion of gatekeepers was mostly true for a very long time, most authors still think this way. This is becoming less and less true every day, with more and more authors accepting that self-publishing is a very viable route to take. But the idea that your book can't be successful unless it's traditionally published is still out there, and it's still alive and well today. But let's get one thing straight. Your book doesn't have to be traditionally published to be famous. Look at 50 Shades of Grey, The Martian. It doesn't even have to be famous to make money. I know hundreds of independently published authors who make a full-time living solely based on their books. Of course, you would never know their names, but I promise you, they're making just as much money, if not more, than some of the household names that I promise you know. How? I'll get into that in just a moment. But the primary takeaway here is that thanks to platforms like Amazon, your book can be self-published and successful. Now, does this all mean that you shouldn't traditionally publish? Not necessarily. There are reasons to go with a publishing house. Do you want a one-size-fits-all approach? Something that you can just step back and let someone else do? Are you not willing to put any time or effort into marketing? Are you willing to surrender control over a lot of aspects of your work? If so, traditional publishing might be for you. So that brings us to the benefits of independent publishing versus traditional publishing. When you independently publish, when you self-publish, you receive more royalties than you would than if you went through a traditional publisher. You literally earn anywhere between 3 to 7 to 10 times more per book sale by self-publishing than you would through a traditional publisher. A traditional publisher has to take a large cut of the profits to pay for printing, distribution, editing, cover designing, all sorts of things, and then don't forget the fact that the publishing house needs to make money too. An author will generally receive at most 10% of the book sales, sometimes as much as 12 to 15%, but that's in rarer cases. Whereas authors who self-publish make 30 to 70% of the book's sale, a massive uptick from what you would expect from traditional publishing. You also retain the rights and the control to say what you want in your book and how you want it said, what the cover art's going to look like, everything. At the end of the day, you're going to make all the decisions. So if you're a control freak, if you're a perfectionist, or if you just don't want to be censored, go with self-publishing. You also get to work at your own pace. There are no strict imposing deadlines unless you set them yourself. For instance, I have deadlines on my books, but only because I set up pre-orders and because deadlines help me to work faster. But you don't have to have any deadlines. You can work however slow or fast you want to. Basically, you get more money, you work however you want, and you have final say over what is in your book and how it's said and how it looks. So after those benefits, why on earth would you choose traditional publishing? Well, for one, the quote-unquote prestige. There is a certain level of credibility, authority, and status that you get when you're accepted with a traditional publisher. Most people who self-publish won't admit this to you, but it's true. There's also less responsibility on your part. Once the final round of edits is done, you basically turn the manuscript over to the publisher and they take it from there. They'll handle the cover design, the formatting, everything. You won't have to worry about printing, distribution, anything. There are also fewer upfront costs. When you self-publish, you got to pay for an editor, you've got to pay for a cover designer. A publishing house will take care of all of that for you. So if you want to pay less, both with money and time, traditional publishing might be your option. So I really hope I've made this decision a little more clear for you. Remember, there's not a one-size-fits-all answer here. It's dependent on what you need and what you want for your book. So what are you planning to do with what you're writing? Let me know in the comments below whether you plan to self-publish, traditionally publish, or whether you've self-published or traditionally published in the past. Also, if this video has helped you, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell to stay notified of all future uploads. Thank you again for joining me. My name is David Webb, and get some writing done.